Hi everyone, and welcome to another tasting series video here with Casa Larga. I'm Corey, Retail Sales Manager here, and today we're going to go through our Sweet Tooth tasting kit. So this is a selection of 5 of our sweeter wines, fun for new drinkers, or if you'd like something a little bit sweet, especially great for the summer, this is the perfect kit for you. So to start out with, we'll just talk a little bit about what you're going to get in your kit. First and foremost, you're going to get a tasting kit, or guide here. So once you open this up, you will see a how to taste page, right in the first one there, and then the listing of the wines, the descriptions, and some nice little bit of pairing options in there. So to get started, if you aren't familiar with tasting wine, or you've heard a lot of different ways to do it, there are a few different ways you can do tastings, and honestly, whichever way you prefer is the way that we recommend. But kind of if you're doing competition tastings, or you're tasting just to compare different wines, there are a few things that are recommended that you do. First and foremost, in your bag you will find a glass. And we recommend pouring your samples into that glass to taste. It can be the glass that comes with it, or if you have a favorite glass at home, feel free to use that. But it's going to be a little bit easier to do the tastings if you have them in a glass, because there's going to be some swirling involved, and obviously that's going to be pretty hard in some of the small containers. So a glass is definitely the recommended way to go. When you're doing this, the first thing you do when you get a tasting, you want to look at the wine. And you're just kind of looking at it in the glass. You're looking at things like, is it cloudy? Is it clear? What color is it? These are just ways that you're kind of familiarizing yourself with the wine. Looking for some of those things, again, like the color of it. There's a couple wines we have that are both going to be filtered, like the ones we tried today, or our sparkling pet nats, which are in a different tasting. They're going to be a little bit cloudier based on the way that they're made. So you're looking for things like that. The second step is going to be swirl. And the reason why swirling is important is because you're allowing the wine to aerate a little bit. I know a lot of people have heard about aerators, things that you can pour into, decanters, things like that. This, of course, is nothing on that method, but it's going to get a little aeration in there. It's going to help a couple different ways. First, when the air gets in there, it's going to enhance the smell. So in our next step that we talk about, that's going to be sniff. And getting that air in there, swirling around, is going to really bring up those aromatics. So much of what we eat or drink actually starts when we smell it. So that's what this part is really good for. You're also looking at something called legs. If you've ever swirled anything around and then you look at the glass, sometimes there's some of that residual liquid in there that kind of carries down the glass. That is actually a quick and easy way to see the sugar level in a wine. Now, it's hard to say, oh, this one has a little more legs than this one, so it's going to be a little sweeter. But the longer that clings to the glass and the more that it comes down, the more sugar content is in the wine. So you're looking for things like that in there. For our next step, that is sniff, and this is super, super important. So again, so much of what we eat or drink, a lot of that starts in the nose, in the smell. So you're looking here for the bouquet, and this can be wide-ranging. There's no perfect answer for what this is going to be like. You might get floral, you might get fruity, you might smell a little sweetness. You can tell when something's a little bit sweeter. If it's an oaked wine, you'll be able to smell some of that oakiness in there, that earthiness. So that's what you're looking for, trying to get that aromatic there. And either the nose or the bouquet, it can be kind of used interchangeably. The nose on the wine, of course, the first thing that you get in your nose. Or bouquet is another way to get that, kind of like smelling a bouquet of flowers. A similar concept, you're looking for that in there. The next two are sip and savor. So a lot of people, or for that last one with savor, could also be spit. A lot of times you'll see people, if they're tasting a lot of wines, especially in a competition, of course, where you're drinking, you could be trying 50, 60 wines in a day. What you do is you sip it and you let it hold in your mouth for a little bit. And now, if you can, you want to try to take a little bit of a breath. Of course, not too much. We don't want to breathe too much with liquid in our mouth. But bringing some air in there, because that's also going to help aerate it in your mouth and help those enhanced flavors, especially the smell, kind of go through the back of your mouth and your throat, and that's going to help you get a better enhanced flavor. You're also looking for feel. Sometimes you can feel, especially with red wines, kind of dries your mouth out a little bit. Sweeter wines, you might feel that there's a little bit of a coating, a little bit extra there. Sugar versus non-sugar, looking for those to think how that kind of has a mouthfeel. For our portion here, the next part is to savor or drink it on down. Of course, when we're tasting at home, we want to drink that wine and enjoy it. So that next step is just kind of swallowing, let it settle, and see how it feels on the way down as well. That'll get you some hints to how the wine is there too. Again, a lot of times why you see spit is because, again, if you're changing from a bunch of different wines, drinking can sometimes change the profile of things as it gets to the back of the tongue, different taste buds. But of course, the big reason is if you're trying a lot in a day, this is a way, of course, to still try your wine, taste it without necessarily, of course, drinking a lot, and then not being able to drive or do further competition gradings later. So that's kind of just a way. So again, really quick to go back through that. Your first step is going to be sight or see. Take a look at it. Then you want to swirl right around in your glass. Be careful with the swirling. Get a little too aggressive. Your wine's going to come out. Sniff. Get that nice nose, nice aromatic in there. And then you sip. Try to get a little air in there. Swish it around a little bit. Feel how that feels, and then you can drink it on down. So getting into the specific wines for our sweet tooth here. The first wine that we are going to go to that you will see on your list is our Petit Noir. And Petit Noir is a really, really unique wine. If you are familiar with Beaujolais, Beaujolais is usually the first wine after harvest. So say you harvest October, November, they go right out, they pick those reds, and they turn it into a wine within a couple weeks and release it right after. Beaujolais, of course, was popularized in France, where it has come from. And it's known for being fruit forward, so it's not going to spend any time in oak because that takes a really long time. So you want to get a wine quicker. It's just aged in stainless steel, so it gives you those really bright red berry notes that you kind of see in a red wine, but in a much more lighter berry tone. So you might get a little bit of cherry in some of your red wines. This one, you're going to really get that on the front end. Some strawberry in there, raspberry, cherry, really nice red berry notes. They tend to be a little bit off dry. So this one here is about a 1.5 residual sugar, so it sits kind of in the middle. But because it's fruit forward, it leans sweet in terms of perception. So in wine, sugar is not everything. Different types of wine are going to react to sugar better. So in this one, even though it's a little bit of a lighter sugar wine, you still get those really nice sweet things on there. And the big thing about Beaujolais is it's unoaked. So it's lighter. It's not going to have that really heavy dryness when you drink it. You get a lot of really, really nice red berry notes, and then a nice, soft, easy drinking finish. It is a great red if you're coming from, say, your really sweet reds too, and you want to get to drier. This is a nice in-between there, kind of gets you used to a little bit of a drier red, but it's not going to have that oak and that tannin and dry that you might be used to. It's also great because you can either chill it or leave it at room temp. Because it is an unoaked wine and an unoaked red, it really can go either way. Some people prefer it chilled because of how light it is. It does kind of drink like a whiter wine and feel. And you can also leave it out and drink it at room temperature if that's where you prefer your reds to be. So it's a super versatile red. We love it for the summer. We love it for a sangria base. And it's a really nice, easy red to start out with. And that is our Petit Noir. And again, people always say noir, isn't that red like a Pinot Noir? And Noir itself is actually not the grape. Pinot is the grape in that. In this case, Petit is not a grape. It is just what we call it there. But Noir is actually signifying that it's dark or black, or in black term, a red wine. And so when you're looking at things, say like a Pinot Grigio and a Pinot Noir, a Pinot Grigio there is going to be a white Pinot. Noir is going to be a dark Pinot, or in this case, a red Pinot. This is neither. This is a Petit Noir, but the reason why we call it a Petit Noir is because it is a dark wine, it is a red, but it's lighter, it's petite, it's kind of not all the way as what you would expect, so that's where that nomenclature comes from. Moving right down on the list, this fancy blue bottle that I know so many people are familiar with is our Lilac Hill. This is the official wine of Rochester's Lilac Festival. We've had that since the mid-90s, which is wonderful. But it's a wine we carry year-round. During the festival time, we do a special festival label with lilacs on it and all those beautiful pictures. But it is a wine we carry year-round. And this is a semi-sweet white. It is a blend of a few different white grapes. But even though it's called Lilac Hill, it is actually not made with any lilac. So there's no flower in it. As you drink this down, that bouquet, you're going to get that beautiful floral right off the bat. And then as you drink it down, you get that little bit of floral in there, and then a really nice, light, sweet finish. Just a touch of sweetness, enough that you notice it's got a little bit of sugar there, but it's not super, super sweet. But the big thing is that wonderful, beautiful floral nose on it. And that actually comes from the Muscat grape, excuse me. So this is a blend of Muscat, Riesling, and Cayuga. And that Muscat, which is a very floral grape, is what gives it that nice little bit of floral start to it. It is perfect for brunch. If you're looking for a wine for brunch, it's gonna go great with just about everything on brunch. It's also a really nice wine to pair with desserts, especially if you're doing a citrus dessert, so something lemon-based or orange. The floral in that wine goes fantastic with citrus, and it's a really, really nice pairing together. Again, this is just a little sweet, so this one is a little bit more than the last one. This is about a 2.1 residual sugar, so definitely gonna have a little bit of sugar in there, but still not gonna be super, super sweet. And it's very unique. You're not gonna find anything quite like this. It is a blend, so it is something that Casa Larga does that nobody else does. And it's great because, of course, being here in the Flower City in Rochester, we love being able to be a part of that festival. So the Lilac Hill is really, really great all the year round, but especially now as we're going into the spring and the lilacs start to bloom, great wine for the spring for sure. Next up on the tasting kit you're going to see is our Dolce Bianco, and this is a blend of Niagara and Cayuga grapes. So Niagara is an American grape. It's grown here natively. If you've had anything like a Welch's white grape juice, Ocean Spray, things like that, you're super familiar with what Niagara tastes like. And this wine is really similar to it. It is great. It is about a 5% residual. So now we're getting really into that sweet zone. If you really like sweet wines, if you're a fan of Moscatos, this Bianco is perfect for you. Light white grape tones, just a nice little bit of touch on the end, and a really smooth, easy finish. This is a great wine for slushies, just for drinking as is. You could also use it as a sangria base. And you can use it for a lot of different things, but it's that great, easy, just like drinking grape juice. So if you're starting to get into wine, you really want to figure out kind of what wine you like, Dolce Bianco is a great starting place for you. Great forwards, it's kind of like drinking a juice, but you start to get those profiles of wine that you can get used to as you start drinking other wines, which is really, really nice. Just a really easy, nice wine to start off with. Our final two wines on this are actually going to be our white and our red sangria. So we have two sangrias. Both are made in a really similar way. They actually take that Dolce Bianco that we were just discussing, that Niagara base, and then we actually add fruit juices to them. Normally in wines, when we say, oh, this has flavors of blueberry, flavors of cherry, that is a natural flavor. That is not a flavor, it is what comes from the grapes. In these two, though, we actually do add fruit juices in there. So when I do discuss the flavors, those are actually coming from juice. And if you're familiar with sangria, most sangria is going to be a base of wine, whether white or red, usually some type of hard liquor in there, whether it's brandy, something along those lines. And then fresh fruit. We, of course, in order to bottle that, went the quick route and just added fruit juice right in there for you, so it's ready to go. The white is our tropical sangria. You're going to have lime, lemon, pineapple, and touch of orange in there. So it's citrusy, really, really nice to drink in the summer. Drink as is, or you can throw some fruit in there to enhance it up. And again, this one is tropical fruit based. Moving on to the red, that's going to be more like your typical sangria. So that is like a berry base. So you're going to have strawberry, blueberry, tart cherry in there. Really crisp, really nice and fruity. They are perfect for the summer. Again, you can drink them straight as is, or you can turn them into a punch, pour them in, use with fresh fruit. Even add something a little bubbly in there, whether you want to go with like a club soda or a Sprite or even a champagne. That's really, really good in there, makes it a little bubbly, and you can turn it into a punch. And they're both on the sweet side, so they're about a 7.5 residual. So those are going to be some of the sweeter non-ice wines that we have. Really, really fun and fruity, perfect for parties, but also perfect as is, just enjoying in the summer. That hopefully we'll be able to enjoy a little bit more this year. So it's a really, really fun, versatile wine to use throughout the summer. So again, if you love sweet wines, the Sweet Tooth is the kit for you. I'm going to have a nice selection, some reds, some whites, so you can go through, figure out what you like, and then you know moving forward which ones that you enjoy. So as always, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for purchasing a kit, and hanging out virtually here with me. We're really excited that we're still able to do this. And we know as we're getting, seeing some light towards the end of the tunnel. This is just a fun way until we can get everybody back in here together and start doing our normal tastings that we're used to. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, give us a call, email us, ask us any questions you might have about the kits. We are so glad to answer them. And if you're looking into purchasing any of the stuff you have today, you can either come right into the wine shop or order right on our website at www.casalarga.com. We do local delivery, we do curbside pickup, and we do shipping. So there's plenty of ways for you to pick up your wine. If you have any questions, give us a call at 585-223-4210. Other than that, thank you so much for joining us for another Taste and Kit, and we hope you come back and see us soon.